Welcome, various adventurers, traders, and realm walkers. And if any bound are watching, congratulations on learning to use YouTube. On this channel, I discuss the factions that design and build the worlds we explore in our games, movies, and stories. If you want to see more of that, hit subscribe. Today we're going to discuss all the knowledge, the various arts and crafts that we need to survive in the realms. From clothing to weapons, ammunition, food, fuel, and magic to get us through. As a warning, this video contains spoilers for the story of Nightingale. Alright, let's get into it.
We've been a realm walker for a long time now, traveling through the worlds of the Fae, trying to find our way back home. Nightingale, thrown into chaos by the Pale and overrun with the Bound. When we fled into the realms to escape, it still stood. What's become of it? We don't yet know, but we vow to find out. We have to take it back, if there's anything left. One problem, though? We left with nothing but the clothes on our back and a few trinkets in our pockets. We're barely ready to face a walk in the forest, let alone an army of hostile creatures wielding fell magic and powerful weapons. We've spent our time learning to create, learning to build. The journey has been long, but it isn't over yet. In fact, there are still a great many adventures ahead. We've discovered a lot about the world, built and improved our gear, made a home in the realms, and fought many enemies. We've been preparing, but we're not ready yet. We will need more material, more equipment, and more magic to face what's to come. We've got much more to learn. When we first find ourselves in the Fey realms, we're in a strange place, an in-between place, surrounded by stone and dripping water, rotted wood, and the stench of decay. Ahead of us, some light filters through. Over the remains of an ancient wooden barricade, a corpse lies against it, nothing now but bones. Evidence of a violent death, an axe protrudes, made from wood and stone. We pull the tool loose and with it break apart the barrier. It's our only way out. This is a simple tool, one that we could make if we required it, and indeed we will likely need to in the days ahead, but first, we must escape. The progression list that we can access in our menu functions shows us items we can learn as we progress. Initially, we'll need items to facilitate our survival. These are free to learn, but others are not. We can also discover a few other things that will help. A cooking station, some food items, things that'll keep us going. More complex recipes require a particular resource to learn. We can see that this menu is divided into tiers and categories. The structures category gives us access to building items that we can place down. Some of these items are functional, while others may just serve as decoration. Refinement gives us some basic craftables and the ability to refine resources into more useful items. Tools gives us access to some craftable tools, items, and weapons. Clothing unlocks clothing items and the craft tables we need to create them. Consumables unlocks more food items, as well as potions. Magic lets us create items like realm cards and spell scrolls. Tile sets is full of building parts such as walls, roofs, stairs, doors, etc. And the special event tab lets us learn items that have seasonal or event-specific themes. As well, we will see that there are 3 tiers at the top of the menu. These tiers open up new items, give us improved versions of items across all the categories, and they also show us which resources are required to unlock recipes in that tier. All items are tiered in Nightingale, and we need essence to unlock them. We get essence by performing actions in a realm of that tier. In other words, tier 2 realms give us tier 2 essence. We get essence by killing enemies, completing puzzles, gathering, and several other ways, including hunting the wisps that float around. Wisps are composed of the essence of the tier matching the realm you're in. As you gain essence, you can spend it to unlock more recipes at higher tiers. When you begin, some tiers are locked, but you can unlock them by progressing through story quests. Higher tier essence is rarer and more difficult to find than lower tier essence. This is the primary way that we learn to make the tools, gear, building items, and consumables we need to face greater and greater challenges in the realms. Once we reach a certain point though, we'll unlock a tier above the 3 we've been working towards, and these are not tied to our progress menu. At the Watch, we gain a 4th tier of essence by fighting our way through certain dungeons or entering ascended realms. With this essence, we can purchase recipes from merchants at the Watch that we can't unlock by using our own progression menu. These items have much higher bonuses or give us access to unique places, from weapons and armor, brand new building tiles, to cards that take us to entirely different types of realms than ones we've discovered before. In this way, we slowly learn to make the tools and items we need to progress, though in order to make them, we'll need resources. Lots of resources. As we jump through the portal we've opened and feel the magic surround us, the light fades to darkness and the sounds of pursuit behind us die away. The air changes and suddenly our sight returns. We stand on a plinth of stone here in the crossways, and before us a creature appears, and we speak. He tells us of our quest. We strike a deal and our adventure begins. We make our way into the woodlands beyond the arches and fight our way through the Bound and meet the first of our friends along the road. It's time to start building our tools. We'll need shelter, we'll need security, and we'll need to build a place in the realms we can call home. We find the first of our materials at our feet, simple sticks and rocks. With these, we can begin to make our simple craft stations and our first weapons. Plant fibers give us thread and twine we can use to make rough clothing, and the fruit growing on the bushes throughout the forest will sustain us for a time. Once we build our tools, we can start obtaining more, cutting wood from the trees, breaking large stones, mining simple metals. These materials will let us build and create more. Each resource possesses its own properties, and as we build better tools, we can find materials more suited to specific tasks. Harder stones and metals will deal more damage. Stronger fibers will create more protective clothing. Exotic woods make our tools more effective. We'll eventually begin to look for even rarer materials in our travels as we learn our way through the world. Metals and woods that make stronger guns, or ones that make our blades strike harder. Gems we can mine that will increase our capacity to use magic, and foods that will make our recipes and consumables much more versatile and grant us much higher bonuses. Our resources don't just come from rocks and trees, however, and as we move through the realms, we'll need to learn to hunt. Skins and furs will give our clothing specific properties depending on the creature from which we take them. Bones to craft potions that heal us, meat to sustain us. Many creatures we encounter are passive. Ungulates and other benevolent animals roam the forests, deserts, and swamps. We'll also encounter more difficult prey. Wolves and boars will assail us if we get too close. Their hides and bones are useful to us. Spiders and other insects will swarm us, and from them we can pry their hard shells. Bears and bandersnatches, harpies and bound. We'll learn that we need to hunt stronger and stronger creatures if we're to add their properties to our gear. We humans and Fae are not the only beings with kings and captains. The creatures in the realms also have their leaders. Named animals are shown on the map, and when you find them, you'll gain some magical resources. There are also special creatures, magical ones, like the mysterious Carnute, the guardian of the forest. Killing them takes special tools. They're ethereal and undamaged by conventional weapons. Dispelling their magic will allow you to attack them. Realms of the same type share many basic resources, but those with certain properties can be a source of very specific resources, often located near floating stone formations or peculiar trees. These resources are often possessed of very special properties. Many of these are in the 5th tier of materials, and some are only available by adventuring in strange places and fighting powerful monsters. Sometimes you need a little something you're having trouble finding though, something simple, and that's what essence traders are for. Each realm has one, and they'll sell you some preparations and basic resources if you're short. They charge an amount of essence related to the realm's tier. Weapons you can swing and shoot are going to be some of your most used items, unless you enjoy punching a lot. There are some items you'll need in your travels, though, that have specific uses and give you new abilities. Weapons you can throw are pretty handy. Of course, you can make throwing knives that you can fling at your enemies, and having a bunch on your person can come in handy in a pinch if you're not much of a gunfighter. Sometimes you'll want to throw things that do more than just hit one enemy at a time, and that's where your grenades come in handy. Thrown explosives are not just consumable, instead they have a durability counter, and when it runs down you can repair them using essence. The explosive grenades will deal damage in an area, which is great if your enemies like to swarm, as the Bound often do, or if you want to hit something around a corner and can't see exactly where it is. Your spyglass is something no adventurer should be without. It gives you the ability to zoom in your sight on things in the distance, letting you get much better perspective to plan your next move. When active, they also show creatures and enemies nearby. You'll need one no matter where you travel. Your ranged weapons will require ammunition, bullets, balls, and arrows. These should be made using the lowest tier materials you have. Properties will not transfer to ammunition, which is consumable. You'll learn to make umbrellas. These items keep the weather off, and they're capable of harnessing the magic of the realms, giving you limited flight and gliding. And your grappling hooks will let you climb steep cliffs, walls, and trees. They can be launched to surfaces in range so you can pull yourself up, and can also be used as weapons. Your equipment can also be equipped with charms. These items grant new abilities, increase existing stats, or change the way the item works in some way. They can be learned and crafted like any other item. They also do not take on magical properties when crafted. They can attach to your weapons or to your clothing. These are some of the tools you'll need to get around and explore more effectively, though you'll want to make sure that you're properly attired as well. When first you leave behind the caves where the survivors have camped in the Abeyance realm, you ought to have learned to create a few simple pieces of clothing. These clothes are not fit for the fashionable halls of nobles, though they'll keep you from dying of exposure in the wilderness. As you move forward in your journey and discover all manner of new ways to dress yourself, you'll become more familiar with the fashions of the realms. You'll likely begin making rugged clothing from rough cloth and leather you find in your adventures. Over time, you'll find and learn to create much finer materials from which to make your garb. Your wardrobe will be complete with 7 pieces of gear: a hat, outerwear such as a jacket or scarf, a backpack which will allow you to carry your inventory, a shirt to keep the cold off, something to cover your lower body and preserve your modesty, a pair of gloves to preserve your hands, and a pair of boots or shoes that you don't have to burn your feet on hot desert sands. Explorers and trappers wear well-designed but blandly decorated gear, designed to weather harsh elements and made from rougher materials. You can use much finer cloth to make them if it suits your purpose, though be aware that they will likely be exposed to harsh conditions and will wear quite quickly. The NTTC are traders. They wander the realms selling goods, meeting with powerful people to negotiate deals, and fight to protect their interests. NTTC clothing is often practical, though, with some decoration to impress those with whom they have to deal. Their jackets are simple and strong, but with hints at finer construction and materials within. Their backpacks are large and meant to carry goods across distant landscapes, and their boots are plain but strong for marching through difficult terrain. Druids are natural magicians. They use the powers available to them to protect the lands and the beings that dwell there. Druids of old wore very stylistic ritual apparel, though things have changed. Their clothing follows more modern trends, though with hints at their calling, such as the use of greens and browns, flower or plant motifs. Calcularians are scientists. They dress practically for the job. While there are some stylistic choices made with their adornments, they tend to be of a more Spartan design. Hermetics, mad mages, aloof and solo academics, their style reflects their distance from popular trends, though some elements of modern fashion manage to creep in. Your backpack will increase the amount of weight you can carry. This is something you'll want to pay particular attention to when adventuring. Being weighed down can slow your movements and prevent your stamina from refilling when you need it most. Clothing of the same tier tends to offer similar bonuses, and so your druidic jacket will give you the same protection as the Red Cross armor if both are properly made, though they will offer different base bonuses as well as whichever bonuses you added during crafting. Weapons and tools are different. They come in many forms and have many more tiers than types of clothing. Your first weapons will be your tools, and in fact many of your later weapons will also be your tools. The axe with which you cut wood can become your greatest ally on the battlefield for cutting down the bound. Some specialized weapons exist which serve no other purpose, such as swords of course, but unless combat's the lone focus of your journey, it's better to save space and use a smaller number of tools for many things. Weapons come in tiers, and their tiers affect their base statistics and bonuses. Simple weapons are made from rough materials, rough stone blocks and unprocessed lumps of wood. They'll be the first that you learn and create, and will serve you well at the start of your journey, but they're of less use in more challenging situations. The next tier up is the refined tier. They require materials with a little more processing, fibers, boards, and smelted ingots. They deal more damage than simple weapons and tools, but not enough to make them valuable for long. The tier of the tool or weapon also matters when gathering, as some materials require tools of a specific tier to harvest. The rugged tier is next, made from refined materials and some crafted parts. They require some work and planning to create. The ornate tier is next, being made from finely wrought materials such as carved woods and etched ingots. This tier shows a notable leap in magical capacity. The next tier is the dauntless tier, granting high damage and made from highly refined parts and materials. And then there are the mystic weapons and tools made from well-refined materials and decorated with gems. They also offer a higher bonus to magical power. Your gear has another statistic that's important to pay attention to. This is your gear score. Each item, whether weapon or clothing, has a score that will determine its effectiveness. You can increase the score by using higher tier materials to craft it, adding spells or charms, or by upgrading it at an upgrade bench. Tools with a higher gear score can harvest higher tier materials that would be unavailable to those with a lower gear score. Some areas will also be off limits to you unless your gear has reached a certain score, so this is important. And of course with weapons, we have to talk about spells. Magic is mostly the domain of the Fae, though some forms are available to humans willing to use them. Even the least magical among us will probably use certain spells from time to time, like those for regrowing trees or healing wounds. A spell is crafted in an enchanter's focus as a scroll, which is then added to a weapon or tool. When holding the tool, one can draw on the magic and cast it. Higher tier items may have up to 3 spells placed on them to be used as needed. Fair warning though, casting the spell will damage the weapon's durability. As you use your items, they'll slowly become damaged. Repairing items is easy, but if you forget to do it in a timely fashion, you may find yourself in a difficult situation. Clothing and armor will lose durability as you take damage, either during combat or from falling to your death. Weapons take damage when you fight. Actions like dealing damage and blocking enemy attacks can cause durability drain. Tools such as your axe or mining pick will lose durability when you cut or mine with them. Some of your miscellaneous items such as grenades or throwing knives lose durability with each use. Any item which has a spell attached to it will also lose durability when you cast the spell using that item. It can take a very short time to lose durability in this way. Repairing items that are broken is easy. You need only open your inventory and hit Repair All to fix all of your items, or you can choose to repair a specific item. Repairing items requires Tier 1 Essence. If you have precious little of this resource, you may find yourself in a bad spot. Essence is stored in a special spot in the inventory. You can turn higher tier essence into lower tier essence, but not the other way around. This is handy if you're low on tier 1 essence for repairing, but have some tier 2 or 3 that you can spare. This is handy so that you don't have to carry a lot of the same tool in case one runs out, since you have a fairly limited amount of inventory space. I spoke earlier of magic and the enchanter's focus. Magic in the realms comes in many forms, not just flashy spells. Among the first forms of magic with which you'll become familiar is the use of magical cards placed in a portal interface to open a gateway to a specific realm. As you progress, you'll learn to access higher tier realms, which will give more essences and unlock more recipes to learn. These are your major realm cards. You'll also come to understand how you can create other cards to really affect the properties of the realm. Your minor realm cards create effects when placed in a realmic transmuter, such as altering the weather, changing the gravity in the realm, altering the resources that you can find in some way, and so many other combinations of effects. You'll really have to experiment to get the most out of this form of magic. Another form of magic available to humans is in the potions we can create. So many bits of the realms are infused with magic, and when we combine them in certain ways, we can create all sorts of strange effects, from healing wounds, preventing hunger, extinguishing flames, or curing poisons. We can create infusions as well. These are magical properties that we can add to an item to increase a specific bonus, such as its damage, magical power, how much health it will allow us to regenerate, and more. I'll not go too deep into all the magical crafting available to us, or we'll be here all day, but there's so much to discover and experiment with when making our tools and gear that we can be sure to find some combination of elements that best suits our style of exploration and adventure. The tools, knowledge, magic, and help at our disposal, and the skills we learn as we adventure and travel, will give us the strength we need to find our way back to Nightingale City and take back our home. The way we craft, however we build our workshops, will be determined by our choices and patterns. Whatever our methods, whether by magic or fist, blade or bullet, we'll have to learn to make our gear stronger, better, and more effective if we're to survive. Our buildings will keep us safe from the weather and predators, our walls must be thick, our defenses strong, and our tools and furnishings finely built. We'll have to fight to get what we need, fight to defend our friends, and fight to retake our home, but we can't just fight. To survive the journey, we have to become builders and craftspeople, traders and helpers. We'll need to become brewers and cooks, blacksmiths and carpenters, magicians and alchemists. We'll be engineers and armorers, tailors and explorers. The system and tools we have at our disposal are ours to command, but our skill will take us where we need to go. We stand now having faced so many challenges and built so many things. We stand before the gate home, we loosen our shoulders and flex our fingers. We're ready, and now we step through the portal.
Well, that's what I have to say about the various crafts in Nightingale. I want to thank you all for watching, especially if you stick around to the end. If you liked the video, please hit like. And if you're tired of wolves sneaking up on you, hit subscribe. If you want to discuss the topic or think I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, And before you go, I want to give a shout out to my patrons who help support the channel. Our $10 patron is Watuki at the artisan level. If you want to get your name in the credits, head on over and sign up. The Patreon link is in the description. You'll get access to an exclusive Discord and some exclusive art and stories that you can use or discuss and contribute to. And remember, there's no such thing as junk items. Your inventory is just too small. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Internet.